But I would love to introduce you to Terecka Brown. She's the founder of Source Hub. Is that by Melanin Solutions, correct? She is Texas based, so hey, give me a high five because you and I are both. How far away are we? I'm in McKinney, probably like
I'm 15. In the DFW area, so like an hour.
Hour with traffic.
Saginaw, 1 hour away.
Yeah, so we're not too bad. She has a passion for philanthropy and community. And she's partnered and supported over 100 nonprofits and helped build them capacity, grant readiness, which, oh my gosh, grant readiness is so important. How many people have you gotten before, Terecka, that go, yeah, I started my 501c3 yesterday. Can I get a grant? No.
All of them.
Yeah, all of that's everybody. But then finding sustainable funding, which is the important part, because grants are great, but funding is the important part. Terecka equips her leaders with practical tools, with strategies, and the confidence. That's the other thing, being able to know that you can do it, to expand your mission. So all that to say, let me give you Terecka Brown. It's my pleasure. Terecka Brown, I stuttered. It's my pleasure to introduce Terecka Brown to everyone.
Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate you. And also, I want to give a heavenly shout out to Miss Sabrina Walker. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here. And so I just want to give her flowers and her roses, and just hoping that I can get through this. So I'm super excited.
We miss her. We
do miss her. We do miss her. We do miss her.
Ma'am.
She put this thing together, and we're moving forward for her. So I love it. And for you guys too. So a little bit about myself. My name is Terecka. Brian already kind of gave you guys a background. First and foremost, when we talk about grant readiness, I am the type of person to just kind of lay it out raw. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I also want to make sure that you understand that these organizations that you guys have put together are for the greater good, not just for yourself, but for the people that you're serving in your communities and whatever your missions and visions and values are as it relates to your organization. So what we're going to talk about today is going to kind of help you solidify the foundation. We're going to talk about like a house, right? Without a foundation, there's no house. So before you can do anything, you have to make sure you have a strong foundation. And so that's what grant readiness is all about. Having that solid foundation, making sure that everything you need prior to seeking a grant, you have those things in order. I do have a presentation that I'm going to share, and I also have a checklist that Brian will probably send to you guys after this amazing summit over the next couple of days, that you guys can use to kind of make sure that you're grant ready for the future, for your funding, the funds that you're looking for your organization. So I am going to share my screen. Let me pull this up. And another thing that I'm going to talk about while I'm pulling up my screen is the fact that a lot of technology is being used these days. And I know a lot of nonprofits aren't, newer nonprofits aren't acquainted with the new technologies. And I'm a millennial, so I'm always testing out all new technologies, the AI, all of these different things. And so a lot of what I've created today, I've used platforms like Canva. There's a platform called Gamma that I use. You can also use this when it comes to becoming grant ready, and I'll share that with you guys here. Hopefully everyone can see my screen. I'm going to put it in presentation mode. All right. So here we go. Grant readiness for nonprofits. Okay, so we're talking about funding the future and being sustainable, right? Building impact, making sure that you're finding that strategic funding, all of the good things that we're always looking for as it relates to our organization. So the most important thing that you want to think about when you're becoming grant ready is building trust, capacity, and funding success, right? So the goal is to transform your organization from hopeful applicant to investment ready partner. Remember, when you're writing grants or seeking funding, you're looking to partner with these organizations. They're going to become your friend, your partner. They're helping you get to the goal that you set for your organization. So look at them as partners and not just funders, right? And make sure that you also have a strategic readiness plan. And that's what we're going to talk about. So first and foremost, what is grant readiness, right? Number one, it's organizational capacity. You need to be able to demonstrate your nonprofit's ability to execute the programs that you've created, the initiatives that you've built out effectively, and also be able to make sure that you can manage those resources responsibly. Well, talking about that means two things. Number one, you cannot do this by yourself, right? You need a team. That's why it's important before you start seeking out funding, looking for grants and all of those good things, that you have a team, because you're going to need someone to support you, especially if you win the grant, right? You need to be able to use those resources responsibly, right? Manage them responsibly. And sometimes, you may be the one outside talking to people, doing the footwork. You need people on the back end to support your organization. You also need to make sure that you have people that can help you think, right? Help you understand what it is that you need. That's why it's always important to have a board. Your board is your nonprofit family. These are people that are going to live in that nonprofit house with you, right, while you're building this foundation. So it's very, very important that you have those people on board. And then also, whatever it is that your organization is doing, whatever programs or initiatives that you all have, it needs to be organized in a way to where you can manage it effectively and people can understand what your program looks like. When funders or your partners are coming in and saying, hey, I have this grant, I have this money, and you need the money, you need to be able to tell them, okay, this is what we're going to do with the money. It needs to be organized. You have to have it written. So one of the things I always do is help people get the thoughts in their head onto paper. That's very, very important. And in the beginning, it doesn't have to be perfect. It could literally just be a simple checklist of, who am I serving? What am I doing? How? Remember that who, what, when, where, why, how, when we're in school, same thing. Who am I serving? What am I serving? How? What am I doing? All of that needs to just kind of be written out. And then you can bring that checklist together and kind of build out your full program in the simplest form, right? So it's very, very important that you have that organizational capacity. The second thing is funder alignment. Dr. Bev earlier, she talked about this. You need to be able to show a clear connection between your mission and the funder's priorities through strategic positioning. I'm sorry. That's very, very important, because you could be submitting grants all day because the grant's available, but is the grant that they're offering for your organization, are you all connected? Are you aligned with their mission? Are you aligned with their values, and vice versa? Don't waste your time submitting for grants because people say, oh, this grant's available, go apply. Research, check to see if you align with that organization. That way you're not wasting your time, and you're also not wasting your manpower, because a lot of times people will support you in the beginning and then it takes a little time for you to get to where you're going and they give up on you. So make sure that you're strategically using your support, strategically using your time, and making sure that you're using all the resources and you're actually doing research to make sure you align with those funders, so you're not wasting your time or those potential partner funders' times as well with the grant applications. The third thing is going to be prove your readiness to manage the grant funds with transparency and accountability. Okay, I know that people tell you all the time, you can get grants and the grants are available, this, and that. But do you have a budget set up? Do you have a bank account set up to where you're going to have savings? Do you have accounts set up to where if you receive the funds, this is where they're going to go? Do you have a CPA? Do you have these people, on board or in your near future where you can connect with them when you need them? That all needs to be taken care of before you submit a grant. Oftentimes when you apply for grants, they will ask you, who's going to manage your funds. And you need to be able to tell them, I have an accountant, I have a CPA, I have this person, this is someone who sits on my board, my financial advisor, my treasurer. These people need to be readily available, because that's how you're going to prove that you're going to steward those funds properly. You have to be transparent as well and be accountable for the funds. You can't just receive the money and do whatever, So setting yourself up for success prior to applying for grants ensures that you're ready when it's time. So those are the first three things that you want to have: organizational capacity, funder alignment, and of course, some source of financial stewardship, whether that's you and your team, or, there's a lot of digital platforms that you can use as well too for financial stewardship. QuickBooks, a lot of different things for nonprofits to use to kind of manage their funds alongside their bank accounts and things of that nature. So let's talk about why grant readiness matters, right? Again, we talked about it just a second ago. It saves your time, it saves you time, and it also increases your success. That's very, very important, because you're putting all of your energy into this. And oftentimes when we start nonprofits, we have a passion for creating change in our communities, right? But we don't realize the time and the energy that goes with all of that, right? And so you want to make sure that when you're becoming grant ready, you set yourself up so you don't have to double back, right? So focus your energy on aligned opportunities rather than scattered applications. We talked about that. You don't want to be all over the place. Use the time now to make sure you understand what your organization offers, so that when you see grants, you know automatically you qualify for those grants, because you've already created yourself a checklist of what you bring, and you're able to see what they're bringing. And it just helps you kind of save time and then increase the success that you're seeking, right? And then another thing you want to think about when it comes to why grant readiness matters is building trust, right? You want to be able to trust your partners, and your partners want to be able to trust you. So establish credibility through professional presentation and proven track record. It's simple as saying, in the beginning, build out your social media pages, build out your website, have all of these things in line, so that when funders get your applications, once you submit them, they can go and see that you're credible, that you are who you say you are, and you are doing what you say you do. Track everything, record everything. That's so, so important. I don't care if it's 50 cents someone donated to your nonprofit. And I know that sounds so small, but that's how simple I am. 50 cents. 50 cents was given to me on this day by this person, etc., etc. Track that information. It's very, very important, because you're going to have to go back and show proof. And that's how you're going to be able to build that trust through your potential partners / funders, right? And then credibility is very, very important. A lot of people want to be legendary, right? But I believe in notoriety. And when I say notoriety, I mean I'm able to go back and say, this is what I've done, not just because of what's being said, but what I can show you. That's very, very important. It's the simplest way. So build your funders' trust. Also, you want to be in investment ready positioning. Dr. Bev talked about this too. Position your nonprofit as a strategic partner worthy of the long term investment. You need to be able to tell funders, this is why I deserve to receive this grant. My organization is going to do this in 3 to 5 years, and have it written. Well, you can get in front of someone right now and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have this in 20 years. We're going to do this and do that. But if it's not written, if it's not in order to where they can go back and see it on paper after you spoke about it to them, that's not going to be good when applying for grants and getting ready. Because sometimes foundations, they will come in and say, hey, show me what you've done for the past 3 years. And it's just very, very important that you're keeping that information and you're tracking it, and you're making sure that you position yourself. You may be better than a nonprofit, or more qualified than a nonprofit that's been around for 20 years to receive the funding, because you have the need right now. But if you haven't set yourself up or position yourself to where you can show that, they're going to give it to the nonprofit that has that 20 years of data, and they can go and track their records. So just make sure, no matter if you just started, if you're getting back into it, or if you've been doing this for a long time, start tracking everything so that you can build that trust and show them that you're investment ready. And of course, you're saving yourself time, and it helps you increase your success. So what are the core elements of grant readiness? This is very, 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 very important. Like, this is like the seed of the flower of the plant that you're wanting to grow, right? That you're wanting to blossom. Let's just say you want to plant a tree. Well, this is that initial seed that's going to grow the roots for the tree. You want to have a clear mission and vision. Make sure that you're able to articulate your purpose and future aspirations with compelling clarity that resonates with funders. I believe that your story should make someone cry, if that makes any sense. Like, when they read about what your organization is doing, your mission, and why you're doing this, it should feel like someone is like in the kitchen cutting onions, and now like you're getting ready to like bawl in tears. Like, that's how passionate that document or that purpose that you have written out should be. It should be very clear. It should be driven. It should make someone want to partner with your organization and fund your future. That's how important that needs to be. Now, you don't have to write like a whole long story, but it just needs to make sense. And the second thing is your strategic plan. We've been talking about that. Make sure that you're demonstrating like thoughtful planning with measurable goals. It's going to take us 1 year to get here. By year 2, we're here. If you want to go month to month, you can do that too, starting off. Create that timeline and make sure that you're putting in those sustainable growth strategies as well. Talk about how you're going to sustain and continue to push your organization forward, after the funder funds your plan or your program or whatever it is that you have. Show them like, okay, we plan to use this money to do this, and we're going to scale and we're going to grow here. All of that needs to be written out in that plan. You need to be able to demonstrate that, and it needs to be thoughtful and planned out very, very well. We talked about a strong board, right? We already talked about that. Show active, engaged leadership with diverse expertise and clear oversight responsibilities. I always say, when you're starting a nonprofit that's gonna, create change in your community, go and sit in rooms with people who are doing some of the things that your organization wants to do. Connect with them, because you don't always want to be the smartest person in the room, the strongest person in the room. You want people that actually have those leadership qualities that you need in your organization so that you can move forward. I believe it's all about who you know and what you know, right? And sometimes you don't know too many people, but what you do know is that I need to get in this room with these certain people because I need these people to support my mission, and I need to be able to see if I can build a relationship, a rapport, and bring this person in to be a part of my board because they have the same aspirations, goals, and dreams that I have for my community and why I created my nonprofit. So making sure that you're making your solid foundation very, very strong with the people that are engaged. And also make sure you're being diverse, right? Different expertise matters. You don't want everyone that knows the same thing in your nonprofit. You want different expertise so that when all type of opportunities present themselves, you have someone there that can help talk you through, think you through, and help get your organization through at that time, because that's the whole purpose of having that board, right? To be able to make sure that those responsibilities and different things that are going on in the organization are being delegated. Um, Another core element of grant readiness is the current financials. We talked about maintaining accurate and up-to-date financial records. I audit. There's a lot of nonprofits that have never done an audit because they say, hey, well, we haven't made any money yet. That's fine. Do the audit once you receive the funding. Have someone audit your nonprofit, so that you can have that, because a lot of grants will say, we want to see your audit from 2023 or 2022, 2024. Budget. Make sure that you have a clear budget. If your program is going to cost you $50,000 to operate for the fiscal year, break that down on how you plan to allocate that budget if you were to have the funds to do so. That's very, very important. And then also your cash flow projections. Being able to see where your money's going, where you've put it, and understand the trends and different things like that. That's really, really important as well, because then what type of grants that you're going to be seeking, because there's more money needed here and more money needed there. And if you have all of those things in order before you go and apply for grants, then you'll be ready and better set up. The last two that are really, really important as well is measurable impact. Track and report your outcomes that demonstrate your organization's effectiveness and social impact. Sometimes things may be working, they may not be working. Track that information, because funders like to see that you understand that there are highs and lows in your organization. There's going to be times where you have to pivot and change. When they see that you're doing that work, they feel like you're more invested and ready to actually manage the money and the funding that they're going to give to you, because again, these are your partners and they're investing their money into your mission and your vision. So make sure that you're creating that measurable impact and you're keeping those reports and things so that you can show how you're going to be effective at whatever problem or issue you're going to solve, because hey, that's what we're doing as nonprofits. We're solving problems, right? And we're making impact. Policies and compliance is the last thing that I think is like very, very core and important, because you need to be able to make sure that you have policies established and ensuring legal compliance and operational excellence. SOPs, things of that nature, you need to have those for your nonprofit. Lord forbid you win $1 million grant and you finally get to the time where you're able to do what you've always wanted to do in your nonprofit, and then something happens to where you can no longer move forward, right? You need to have these things already written and on paper, so the person that comes behind you can say, okay, this is how we're going to do this and that, because they can't do this right now, or they're not able to do this anymore, but we want to keep this mission going. So having your policies and how you operate in order is going to be really, really good, because sometimes it takes grants. You may apply for a grant and not hear anything for 6-7 months, and things change. And so you may have to step back. You may have to do something different. So having those things already, written, and then your team, whoever's supporting you, can come in and pick up where you left off, because you have your things in order, you have it in compliance, and you're operating in excellence. All right, let's talk about some of the common barriers that we face when it comes to funding success. I think that I think that some of the common barriers that we normally face are going to be like no measurable outcomes, right? We talked about not having that and having that. Um, Funders need proof of the impact. That's important. Your financial system is weak. You have inadequate bookkeeping. You're missing audits. You have poor fiscal control. There's red flags, for potential funders, and they're not going to want to support you or work with you because they're not seeing that you're keeping your things in order. Lack of grant strategy. We talked about it. Submitting random applications that don't align with your organization. It's a waste of your time. If you are a garden, if you grow gardens and support communities and put gardens up, you're not going to apply for an athlete fund, right? Because you're not working with athletes. You're actually going around and planting vegetation and building gardens, creating sustainability in the food industry, right? So you want to make sure that you're not doing random applications. Also, another barrier is the limited capacity when it comes to staff and support. A lot of people are operating their nonprofits by themselves, and that's one of the first things that you want to make sure you have in order, because an overworked team struggles, and sometimes you doing it by yourself, now you're overworked, so now you're struggling to get the things done that need to be done. So making sure that you have that staff capacity is very, very important, and it's a big barrier that a lot of organizations are facing right now. And then another one is like the poor funder alignment. Mismatched priorities result in applications that do not resonate with funder interests and values. A lot of times when you go to the grant websites, they'll tell you what their priorities are. This year we're focusing on education. Next year we're going to focus on sustainability. And then the year after that, we're focusing on veterans. Well, if you're a veteran operated nonprofit where you focus on veterans and it's their education year that they're focused on, then technically right now you're not aligned with what they're interested in and what their values are right now. So that's why earlier Dr. Bev, I love her so much, she talked about setting up those alerts, so that you're able to get emails and notifications when grants come that are aligned with you. Very, very important. Making sure that you have what it is that you need so that you don't face these barriers. So make sure that you have those measurable outcomes. You strengthen out your financial system, create a grant strategy, have a team, have a staff, have a support. And I have to say this, family, they don't always support. They don't always support. So go out, connect with strangers that you build a relationship with that have the same mission and vision that you have, and solidify your board so that you have that capacity. And make sure that you're aligning with the funders. Very, very important, because you have to align with your partners so that everything goes smoothly and they know that they're invested in something that interests them and values them, as well as you receiving the funding that you need to move your mission forward. Very, very, very important. All right. So here are some of the things that you need to have in your grant readiness toolkit. I believe in keeping an old school binder and also like a digital file on your computer. I think that's very, very important. So that when you need these things, you can go right to them, right? It's very, very important. Oftentimes you may hire a grant writer, someone to come in and help you, and they're going to be asking you for these different things. And so already having them compiled in a file or in a binder folder where you can get to it immediately is going to be great, and it's going to show that you are prepared. So capability statement. Let me see. How many of you all in here have a capability statement? Anybody? Has anyone heard about a capability statement?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's very, very important, right? So your capability statement is that one-page organizational overview that highlights the strengths, achievements, and your core competencies that you have for your organization. Very, very important. This is like your it's like that love letter that you would show to someone about how you feel about something. Like, I just love pancakes, or I love whatever that mission is, right? That's what that capability statement is like. It's like having all of that information in a one pager where if someone said, show me your best combination, show me what you have, what is it that you're doing, you're able to pull that out and say, this is what my nonprofit is, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're making changes. And you want to just make sure it's a one page, it's detailed but concise, and you're able to just kind of highlight the important things as it relates to your nonprofit, where you're going, where you've been, and what you plan to do in the future. That's very, very important. And then, of course, the infamous determination letter, right? This is that document that you received when you officially became a nonprofit. It's very, very important. Oftentimes, I think people forget about their IRS determination letter. They're like, oh, I have a 501c3, but do you have it printed? Printed? Is it in the binder? Do you have it in a little sleeve where you can show someone like, hey, this is my official document. I have it. Sometimes when you apply for grants, they want you to upload that, right? I know everyone can go to the irs.gov and search your nonprofit and pull you up, but it's very, very important that you can be able to pass it to them or give it to them immediately when they ask. So have that in your toolkit. Also, you want to have your board list and roles. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Is there anyone on here who do not have board members? Okay, good. Very, very important as well to have that list of your current board members, their backgrounds, their expertise, and also their specific responsibilities as it relates to your nonprofit. Are they your president, your treasurer, your secretary? Do you have an advisory board, where you're operating different programs and different things? Those things need to be listed out as well within your grant readiness toolkit. Budget and financials, we talked about it, having all of that in that binder, in that file. Your program descriptions, if you operate 2 programs a year, if you have 20 programs, they all need to be detailed summaries with your target populations, the activities, your outcomes, and any success metrics that you have or expect. That needs to be inside of that toolkit as well, because when you're applying for grants, you need to be able to pull that stuff up. And if you're doing it yourself and they say, hey, tell us about your program. Well, if it's for a specific program that you have, all you have to do is go to that file, open it up, copy and paste it, maybe do a little bit of rewording for the application, but you have it there and it's ready and you can just go right to it. Very, very important. Policies and procedures. We talked about that. If you're a small organization or a big organization, you need to have those things as well, because someone may have to step in. You may need some assistance one day, and they need to be able to go in and see how your organization operates and the different things that you have going on, and be able to move forward for you. And then, of course, success stories. I don't know about you all, but every time I go somewhere, I go and I read the reviews. When I buy on Amazon, I read the reviews. When I get a hotel, I go and I read the reviews. I read the reviews on food. Did someone like the chicken salad that they're selling? I want to know before I buy it. So same thing. You want to have success stories from your nonprofit. What impact have you made? People that you've helped, things that you supported. Get those testimonials and illustrate that so that people can see that when they're asking about your grant readiness toolkit. Funders like to see that too. They like to see that people like what you're doing in the community. When you can show proof, that is like a whole nine. Like, I know so many nonprofits right now that they haven't been keeping their testimonials and things of that nature, but they've been doing a lot of good work in the community. We get so caught up with actually doing the work that we don't realize that we need to solidify the foundation. So doing it now, getting your readiness toolkit together now, is going to help you, and just making sure that you have these things in that binder or that file is going to be really, really great as you move forward with funding your future. Okay, so before I move on to this next slide, I do want to ask, is there any questions or anything about anything that I've said so far? How many people already have a grant readiness toolkit? If you have one, put a 1 in the chat. I just want to know. If you don't have one, put a 2 in the chat. Okay. All right. Okay. Got it. All right. And I do want to confirm, you all can see my screen, right? Okay, cool. All right, because I can't see my screen. I can see it on my end, but I want to make sure you all can see it. Okay, good. Yes. So for those of you who say you do not have your grant readiness toolkit, I'll tell you this. And I want to bring Sabrina up because we all know her, right? When I first met Sabrina, she called me and she's like, "Hey, I've been following you on social media, and I want you to come onto my podcast and talk about grant readiness, because I love how simple and transparent you are about it. And I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah. So I got on there and I talked about being grant ready, right? And it felt really good to be able to share this information. But one of the things I saw and I noticed is that there are thousands and thousands of great nonprofits out here, right? We're so great, right? I have my own nonprofit too, Source Hub, which is basically my nonprofit helps nonprofits become grant ready. Simple, right? But what I realized is that we're all doing great work and we don't even know how to use the resources and tools that are available to us. And it seems like it's such a lot of work to do, right? And a lot of us is doing this by ourselves. But I realized, I said, okay, we have all of these different apps, all of this technology, all of this AI, all of these things, right, that we have available to us, but we don't know how to use it. And if we use it in the wrong way, then it's not keeping the integrity with our organizations. So I started to think about ways we could use these different tools to help us like cut some time, but then also at the same time use it to help us kind of get things done quicker so that we can also continue to do what we love to do. So what I want to talk about now is how you can use the current AI that we've all been hearing about. It's like the most important thing in the world, right? People, some people, to accelerate your success. Number one, you can use it for grant research and matching, right? AI can help you identify aligned funding opportunities faster through intelligence database searches. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, one of the things you can do is, kind of talk to the AI and say, hey, this is what my nonprofit does. This is what we focus on. This is our vision. Take your grant readiness checklist or binder and kind of like give it a little bit of that information to let it know what you're doing. And then you can ask it to match you with potential funders. Now, just because the AI says, hey, you're aligned with the Scott Foundation. Okay, cool. I'm not just going to take the AI for what it said, but it did get me to the Scott Foundation. Now I'm going to use that to go and research the Scott Foundation to see if I'm aligned with the Scott Foundation. Being very specific with the AI, letting them know what you want as far as alignment will help them find certain organizations that have, kind of done some of the things that you're doing or supported some of the things that you're doing. So now you're able to go in and say, okay, these are organizations that may have grants available in the future. And now I can use that information to watch their websites and their databases to see when grants become available. Another way that you can use the AI is for proposal development. And no, you do not want to ask the AI to write your program proposal. Of course, you don't want to do that, but it can help you generate drafts. And what do I mean by that? You may not feel like you're the best writer. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm the best speaker, right? But I love helping people. So you can kind of put your words with it to kind of help you use better words, make it sound better for you. If you don't feel comfortable, we often can't afford grant writers, to get the funds that we need. And there may be like a smaller scale grant, a local grant that we want to apply for, but we don't want to just walk in and say, hey, I need $500 because I want to give away ice cream to children in undeserved community. That's probably what you want to do because, that's what you want to do. But there may be a better way that the AI can help you say it. And so using it for that, as far as writing those program proposals, I think will be really, really good. As you want to, grow and tailor your letters and things like that. You can use AI for your impact analysis. It can help you transform like the raw data into powerful visualizations. For example, if you've been collecting data for your nonprofit, but you don't have it in like a chart or something to where they can see it visually, you can import that data into the AI and it'll kind of create those for you. Canva does it. There's a lot of other ones that does it as well that you can use that for. So I think that that's really good as that will work to help you cut back on time, making your own charts and building out your own things to show those visualizations. Also, you can use AI for document management. There's a platform that I use. It's called, what is it called? I'll get it to you. I'll tell y'all what it is at the end in a minute. But it helps you organize your essential materials and create automated checklists for streamlined workflows. Like, for example, if you guys are needing to prepare for an event that's going to happen in your nonprofit, and then you're going to use the data and the photos and all these different things to put on your website and kind of show what you've done so that you can be grant ready. Then you can use the AI to kind of help you organize what that event is going to look like creating a work back schedule. You can also use it to help you create a checklist so that you can kind of delegate tasks out to your different people that are going to support your organization. And then you can also use it to kind of like put everything in order. Like if you want to put your binder, your readiness checklist, or your toolkit in order, you can use it to kind of help you organize those things and put your documents in a way to where you can just kind of go to them from A to Z. So just different things like that that you would have to do by yourself. AI can kind of do it quicker for you, help you save some time. Um, Also, capacity expansion. You can use AI to help you multiply your team's effectiveness through intelligent automation and support. And what do I mean by that? It may just be, helping you put together a great email to send out to your funders or your supporters or the people that you're actually helping. You may be having a big event and, organization agreed to give you guys, in-kind donations versus funding, and they want people to show up. Well, you can use the AI to help you send out those emails, or you can even use AI to help you write the email that you're probably going to send to, 7 different Home Depots because you want them to donate, some material so you can build a treehouse. Just different things like that is how you can use that AI to help you accelerate your success. And a lot of you probably have been doing this in the future, in the past, but maybe if not, you can use it in the future. So let's talk about your action plan for grant readiness. Number one, you want to complete a readiness assessment. You want to evaluate your current organizational capacity using our comprehensive self-assessment tool. So that's going to be in the document that I'm going to share with you guys at the end, or Brian will send to you. It's in the toolkit. So it's just a simple assessment, kind of helping you go through, like, do I have this? Do I have that? Have I completed this? How do I do this? You can use that to kind of see where you are. And then you can also use the toolkit document that I'm going to send to you to help you build out your core documents. And so there are a little bit of templates that you can use, like for policies and things like that, to kind of help you get in order. You can use that to also help you organize the areas where you need to create for your toolkit. For example, you have your 501c3 letter, but you may not have your programs written out. So you can use that to kind of help you build out and organize those documents and keep it into like a centralized system. Another thing that is gonna be good for you when you're creating that action plan or going through the action plan is the Align Funders page that I'm gonna send you. So it's gonna show you how to research and prioritize 2 to 3 well-matched funding opportunities each quarter, right? I like to do things in quarters. I think that's really, really important, right? I'm like a 90-day person. Like, I like to use my 90 days effectively. So like January, February, March, I'm looking for these funders because I want to support or prepare for my summer things that are happening. And then June, April through June, I'm looking at what I'm going to be doing for my fall, right? I'm giving myself time. So using that tool will help you kind of get ready to align yourself with different funders, planning ahead of time. We don't want to wait to the last minute and go and put in grant applications and things like that. That makes any sense. 90 days, that's very, very important. So that tool will help you do that as well. And then, of course, I'm going to send you a list of different AI tools that you can leverage, right? Different platforms that you can kind of go to that are going to help you, kind of do some of the things we talked about, and maybe some other things that you're probably already doing, but you just need a little bit of help. I feel like it's limitless when it comes to that, as long as you're using it with integrity, right? And then, of course, for yourself, you want to commit to growth. All of the tools and all the information that's being given today from all of the different speakers and presenters, I feel like we can take those things and learn a lot, and then also implement them in what we're already doing. And then that's going to help us to continue to grow to where we're trying to go. And I think that that's very, very important. And it also will help you kind of enhance your readiness as it relates to whatever you're doing right now, especially since we're all looking at funding. We need to make sure that we're ready to fund our future. So using all of these tools will help you do that. All right. So, like I said, my special offer for all of the summit attendees today is going to be my free grant readiness checklist. And so it's going to have all of those tools that we talked about available to you so that you can use those. You'll get that automatically after this summit. Brian's going to send that to everyone. And then also, if anyone's interested, I do want to offer my complimentary strategy session. And basically, it's just a one-to-one where we can kind of just sit down, look at what you already have. And if there's anything that you need help with, or if you just want to pick my brain on how to go about these things or getting them together, I'm here for that. Like Brian said, I work with over 100 nonprofits. I've been all over the country helping people and doing different things, partnering with people, and just making sure that we have our solid foundation. And some of these things seem so hard to get, but it's really, really simple when you make a plan for yourself. And I just truly believe in making a plan for yourself. And so I think that every nonprofit operating is special in its own way, and it's very, very important that we solidify our foundation so that we can um, get to where we're going and get what we need. So that's what I have for you. Brian will also send over my link for you to book those complimentary sessions. Like I said, it'll be a one-on-one. If you have a team, bring them on the call. We can talk. I promise I'm really, really cool, really laid back. I don't believe that anything that we do in nonprofits should be stressful as it relates to getting ready, because at the end of the day, we're putting in a lot of work, right? We're doing a lot, and it's near and dear to our heart. And I believe that that's what we should be focused on. So let's do the hard work now so that later on we can actually do what we want to do, which is help our communities. Does anyone have any questions or anything? Any feedback?
You opened up a can of worms, so
No, it's fine.
thank you, because it's a guide. It's really, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well for being here. And I'm so grateful for Miss Sabrina. Like, she was amazing. So thank you. Anyone else? Just come off your mic. It's fine. Okay, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the session. If anyone thinks of anything in the future, I'm going to drop my email here in the chat here, and you guys can shoot me an email. And hey, pick my brain. And it's .co, it's not .com, just so you know. It's not a typo. All right, guys.
Thank you, Terecka.